I do think it needs to happen. I really do. It's also going to weed out the fly-by-nighters.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
creates a good barrier to entry to protect it a little bit in a way. How do you see, like, I was coaching a guy that did holiday lights out in the state of Washington, and all of a sudden, OSHA shows up and he's got to have an electrician on staff, right? And I know in Minnesota, you can do holiday lights without an electrical license, but to do permanent, you got to have an electrician license. Is that a trend you see happening? Is that more and more places are requiring that electrician's license? And how do you think people adapt or respond to that?
I think you're definitely see a push. Obviously, trends like that typically start, where they start on the West Coast in the more liberal states because they're going after money, right? At the end of the day, if they require you to do it, there's licensing fees, there's annual fees, right? So they're and then permitting fees. So they're generating tons of money by having those jobs become permitted. So yes, Washington, Oregon, California, you're seeing it very heavy. I think New York's not too far behind. I think New York's already tried a couple of times to get it. Minnesota is definitely one where we've seen them trying to push stuff through. We've also seen it in, Florida, more so because of the amount of water. So that's a legitimate liability. Yeah. So I do think you're going to see, and I'll be honest, I'm all for it. At least make them do like a low voltage apprenticeship, right? Make them go to a week-long class and understand, because it's crazy. Like low voltage, a 12-volt system is more likely to actually catch fire than a 120-volt system. There's so much built-in protection. 12 volts, any redneck can go screw together two wires, but hey, we got power. Let's go, boys. Yeah. And then next thing you know, they're way overdrawing. And I think you've seen that on Christmas, right? We've seen the Christmas lights where guys are like running infinite amount of C9 bulbs on a socket, like 1,000 foot spool. Cool, let's run 1,000 foot at a time, right? What happens? Well, it just melts because of the heat. And depending on how that stuff is set up, if it's not tripping GFCI or people bypass GFCI, I don't know why you'd ever do such a thing. I've only done it a million times. But I do think it needs to happen. I really do. It's also going to weed out the fly-by-nighters.
Yeah, it creates a good barrier to entry to protect it a little bit in a way.
Yep. And I think I've seen that on the landscape side. You have to have a pesticide license. You have to have an irrigation license. You have to have a landscape contractor license now in the state of North Carolina. And when that happened, like the amount of guy in a truck, legitimate, landscapers, not lawnmowers, we saw a significant decline in competition when that happened. So I'm all for it. I think it's going to be hard to get some traction in some places, but hopefully that when they do implement it, they're grandfathering things in place. And typically they handle that well, but I definitely think it should happen.
Hey, home service heroes, thank you guys so much for tuning into our home service happy hour content today. I sure hope you learned a little something, and I sure as heck hope that it was entertaining. If you did find it fun and entertaining, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more cool, fun, entertaining business content. And speaking of which, stay tuned. There's a little more here and a little more right here. Check it out.